Hi, in this session we will learn about what are the top Salesforce integration interview questions. Here is a list of top Salesforce integration interview questions which were asked in 2023. So first question, what is integration? What is web services? Differentiate between JSON and versus XML. What is REST API? What is SOAP API? What is the difference between SOAP API and REST API? What all integration options are available in Salesforce? What is WSDL? What is SOAP UI? What is the difference between enterprise WSDL and partner WSDL? What is an integration patterns? Differentiate type of integration patterns available in Salesforce. What is remote site settings? Okay. Question number 14 is what is a connected app? Question number 15 is what is auth? 16 is what are different auth 2.0 authorization flows are available in Salesforce. What is JWT flow in Salesforce? What is web service flow in Salesforce? What is name credential and what is the use of it? Okay. Question number 20 is what is an OpenID Connect? Question number 20 is difference between OpenID and auth. What is streaming API? Explain the mechanism of streaming API. Question number 23 is what is chain data capture? What is tooling API? Provide one example when you used it. Question number 25 is what is Salesforce Connect and what are REST API composite resources. So these all are the top interview integration question which were asked in 2023. So here in this session we'll be discussing about basic integration questions like what is integration, what is SOAP APIs, SOAP APIs is REST API, like this. Okay, so what is an integration? So integration is a process of connecting two or more applications. Like enterprise system use many or worst of which are not designed to work with one another out of the box. So in each application can have a data, business logic, presentation, security levels, all of which are possible targets for integration. So question number 2 is what is web services? So web service is a standardized medium to propagate communication between the client and server application on the World Wide Web. So it is a standardized medium to propagate a communication between the client and the server application on the World Wide Web. Web service provide a common platform that allows multiple applications built on programming language to have the ability to communicate with each other. Web services are functionality or code which help us to do integration. Okay. So web services are a open standard XML, SOAP, HTTP, etc. based web application that interact with other web application for the purpose of exchanging your data. So there are two types of web services. Okay, first one is SOAP web services and second one is RESTful web services. So what is the difference between JSON versus XML? So the difference here in the picture, it is giving about the description about what is JSON and XML. The JSON is JavaScript object notation and XML is extensible markup language. Okay, JavaScript object notation has a type like string, number, object, and boolean. And extensible markup language is a typeless and it should be a string. So JSON is a way of representing object, but an XML is a markup language and use that structure to represent the data items. To represent our data in XML form, we use a tag structure. So in JSON, retrieving value is easy, but in XML, retrieving value is difficult. It does not provide any support for namespaces and it supports namespaces. JSON is a less secure versus XML is a more secure than JSON. So question number 4 is what is REST API? A REST API is also known as RESTful API. REST API is an application programming interface API that conforms to the constraints of REST architecture style and allows for interaction with RESTful web services. Got my point? It is an application programming interface that conforms to the constraints of REST architecture style and allows for integration with RESTful web services. It allows for integration with RESTful web services. RESTful API is an interface that two computer systems use to exchange information securely over the internet. So RESTful API is an interface that two computer system use to exchange information securely without harboring the data over the internet. So REST API has a lightweight and it is simple, easy to use and powerful web service based on RESTful principles. Okay, RESTful API supports both XML and JSON. So REST resource is referenced using URL, abstraction of information and access using HTTP methods. So what is SOAP API? SOAP is a simple object access protocol, a messaging standard defined by the World Wide Web Consortium and its member editors. SOAP uses XML data formatted to declare its request and response messages, relying on XML schema and other technologies to enforce the structure of its payloads. It uses a web services description language WSDL file to rigorously define the parameters for accessing data through the API. SOAP API supports XML only because SOAP API uses the WSDL file as a formal contract between the API and the consumer. It's a great for writing server to server application. So we will meet in second part.